Hello and welcome. My name is Lexi, and today we are going to be talking about brand new makeup line RABANNE from Paco Rabanne. And let's go ahead and get started. I picked up a ton of these items. I've been testing these for the last couple of weeks, so I have extended thoughts on these. So we're going to start off with the lip products, and let's go ahead. We'll start off with swatching them, then we'll talk about details. I'm going to start off with this one. This is one of the lip balms, and you can see we have kind of this pinky purple kind of shade at the bottom, ombre into silver. And this one is called, it's the Love Balm in Toxic Lips. So this is the lavender shade, and I had to pick that up. So you can see one sheer layer is going to be very light. You can build this up. This is going to be a soft, creamy lip balm formula. You know, as a lip balm, it's not going to have a super long wear time, of course, but it's really creamy, comfortable. It is, you know, hydrating on the lips. Obviously, it's not going to be something for a deep repair, but I think it's a nice formula. Now, I also picked up, this is one of the famous lip color shades. So this is going to be a matte shade. This is called Idée Fixe, and this is what is on my lips right now. You can see this is a nude shade. And we'll talk about the formula for this in a second, but I want to share this one. And then if you order from the Paco Rabanne website directly, so I placed half my order there, then I came out from Selfridges and they had some additional items, so I also purchased from Selfridges. But if you order from the Rabanne website, you got a mini in the famous lipstick in the shade Red Seal, which is their signature red. You can see that the shape here is different versus the lip balm and so forth, which are going to have, you know, they don't have your traditional bullet lipstick shape. So just something to note. And then this is Red Seal. So this is a really beautiful neutral red. It does have a little bit of warmth. There's a tiny bit of orange in there. So it's neutral leaning warm. And these are the three lip shades that I have. Let's talk about some details with these while we look at the lip swatches. Now, according to Rabanne, the Love Balm is a glowy tinted lip balm. It's moisturizing and smoothing for pure softness. We have 3 grams of product here, and it is, you know, the ingredients are 95% of them are from natural origin ingredients. It is a vegan formula. It says it does give you hydration for 24 hours. And, you know, they describe it as a dose of love for the lips, slightly tinted for a natural looking glossy finish. The lips feel ultra moisturized and look softer, healthier, and plumped. Imperfections are reduced and smooth. And I have to say, I think this is a really nice lip balm. It does have an 18-month shelf life. And, you know, I love this like purpley pinky kind of orchid color. I think the Love Balm is a really great product. Moving on to the famous lip color. So this is described as highly pigmented and vibrant colors, ultra comfortable matte lipstick. This time the ingredients are 90% of them are from natural origin ingredients. Again, it's vegan. And in this case, we have the matte effect for up to 8 hours. Notice it says up to 8 hours. So I would give it a 6 to 8 hour wear time. And it does have pomegranate in there, which is supposed to help with some of the hydration and so forth. So this has been tested by a dermatologist on normal and dry lips. So they did make a note for that. This is also 3 grams of product with an 18-month shelf life. Both of these products, by the way, the whole line is made in Italy. And according to Rabanne, this is 1 stroke intensity and super gliding matte lipstick, high coverage, soft, smooth, and lightweight on the lips, up to 12 hours comfort, hydrated, and supple lip feeling. Now, I have to say, the texture of this one going on, it's not one of those creamy mattes that we've seen in so many brands. It does have a little bit more grip to the lips. So when you glide it on, you don't have any of that silicone texture. It's not necessarily like a smooth glide. You need a little bit of pressure to put that on. That being said, it's still smooth. You're not getting any sort of uneven pigmentation or anything like that. But there is a little bit of drag resistance when you are applying this. So it feels a little bit of a stiffer lip balm. That being said, once it's on your lips, it does have a very lightweight texture. You can feel a little bit of a creamy texture on there. It doesn't dry down to one of those dry powdery mattes, but it will kind of settle down, and it's not transfer proof. So after, you know, those top coats come off, you do have kind of this imperceptible matte lip, texture. You don't really feel it on there, but it's still going to give you that matte pigmentation. So I have to say, the first time I used this, I wasn't really sure how I liked it because I did feel that drag resistance, and I was thinking, oh, it's going to end up being dry on my lips, but it's not. It's actually a really nice lip product. So I have to say, I think that their lip products are really, they're nice. They are a good, solid lip product in general. And the packaging on these, everything is plastic packaging. So with kind of the chrome finish to it. So let's go ahead and move on to the next items. So I wanted to share with you a couple things that I don't really love from the brand. And the first thing is this glitter shot. So you can see, I've been shaking this a little bit, but you can see that everything kind of settles. So you definitely want to shake this before using it. Now, this glitter shot product, this is essentially liquid glitter. So you can add it to something to get a glittery finish. You can top your eyeshadows with it and so forth. But I don't find it to be super effective. I'm still shaking this. I don't find it to be super effective. I feel like the concentration of glitter is not high enough compared to how liquidy the actual product is. So we'll talk about that when I'm showing you the eye demos, but you can see once it's kind of stirred or shaken, this is what it looks like. And you can see all of the glitter here in the dropper bottle. So I'm going to go ahead and put this right underneath the lip products. And you can see it's as runny as plain water. So very, very runny. It does have a beautiful, glittery finish. It's not super glittery though, which is what I was expecting. I was expecting to have just a higher concentration of glitter, but you can see that the glitter particles in here are going to be more of your blue, purple, pink variety. I think it's a really beautiful color, but there's just not enough glitter in there for this to be worth it. Plus, I feel like the formula itself, let me just go ahead to the swatches here. The formula itself is just so runny, and it takes a while to dry down, that it makes this product ineffective. If you had this glitter suspension in something that was a little bit stiffer, a little bit of a drier formula, something tackier, then I think it would perform better. But you can see I tried this on top of the liquid eyeshadows, the powder eyeshadows. I've tried this on a variety of different products, lips and so forth. And what it does, unfortunately, is this liquid suspension, this liquid base, it really makes whatever product you have on underneath kind of run. So I've tried putting this on its own. You don't really see enough of the glitter effect to make it worth it. You can, according to RABANNE, you can wear this on its own. You can mix it with another texture to transform it into a shiny, glittery finish. And you could also use this to add a glitter effect or highlight to your eyes or your cheeks, the area of your choice. So I just don't think it's really all that effective. It needs more glitter to really be something called a glitter shot, in my opinion. And I think that this liquidy texture, you can see it makes even the liquid eyeshadows, when they are fully set, it then makes them kind of runny, and you can see it kind of like just drip down the eyelid. So it's just not effective. And I've tried a few different ways getting as little product as possible. You can't see any glitter then, and you still end up smearing whatever's underneath. Even if you are not moving it, it will just kind of smear on its own as it drips. So I think the glitter shot is a pass. Now they do have another product like this. I forget, what that was. I think that was more of a metallic finish or something. I didn't pick that one up, but the glitter shot, not great. So the other product I'm not going to pick up because I'm afraid that they're going to have the same base. So if somebody's tried that, please let me know. I'd love to know, what your thoughts are on that. I saw that available at Selfridges. When I placed my order, it was not available on the RABANNE website. So the foundation is another product that I don't love. And, we're going to talk about this, but I have the lightest shade, 00N. You can see how dark this is just in the tube, so I was kind of worried. Now, listen, can you hear this? It sounds like pure water in here, so I'm not sure how well the sound comes out. You have to shake this. It is very, very liquidy. So I'm going to put this on my other hand. And, so this is your foundation. It's thin. It's not like liquidy like water, okay? But it's very liquidy for a serum foundation. And it shears out a lot. But look how deep this shade is. It is way too orange, way too dark for me. Now, let's take a look at the face demo. And I did wear this, you know, for a full day to get a wear test of it. The formula itself is very sheer, but it's buildable. I think the formula is okay. I personally don't love this formula. For a serum foundation, I don't mind them being like thin and buildable. You know, that's obviously what you want from a serum foundation. But I feel like this one is, it shears out so much that you have to build it a lot more. You need more layers to build this. So I don't love it. I also find that although this is a runny texture, it just, again, seems like there's too much water in it versus, you know, other components. So I just personally don't love the foundation. That being said, the performance of it was actually okay. So it's an okay product. The color range though, if this is their lightest shade, it is, I mean, it's essentially like a light mandarin orange. So I felt like an Oompa Loompa. So yeah, for me, the foundation is a pass. Even if I had a better shade match, this is not a formula that I personally would love. It feels too thin and too watery with, you know, it's just not quite what I expect from a serum foundation either. It's just unfortunately not my preference, but performance was okay on this. So for me, it's a pass. But if you've tried it and loved it, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Now, just a few details on this foundation. The Fresh Touch foundation, it is supposed to have real skin radiance, and we have 30 milliliters or 1 fluid ounce of product. There is a 1-year shelf life, and it is made in Italy. According to RABANNE, this caring foundation enhances the natural beauty of the skin and provides a 12-hour lasting glow finish. The lightweight and fresh texture blends seamlessly into the skin for an ultra comfortable wear. Buildable coverage, light to medium, without masking the real skin. I would say that that is pretty accurate. So the ingredients, we have 91% natural ingredients. Hydration's supposed to be up to 24 hours. Again, it's vegan, made in Italy, and we have a 1-year shelf life on here. So overall, the performance of this product is okay, but it's just not one that I personally love. So just a couple shade comparisons. This is the Chanel No. 1 foundation in the BD01, which is my normal shade. You can see how much lighter ivory this is compared to the 00N from RABANNE. This is Cle de Peau in I-10, which is my normal shade from them as well. And you can see how similar that is. It's a little peachier than the Chanel, but again, significantly lighter than the RABANNE. So let's go ahead and move on to some other items that I really enjoyed. And I want to start off with the Color Shot Liquid Eyeshadow. So this is a cream to paint metallic liquid eyeshadow. I have the shade Lavender Sky, which is number 63. And I'm going to put the liquid here. So this is, you know, your little paint tube. And obviously I haven't had this long enough to see how long the product will last before drying out. But it does remind me a lot of the Danessa Myricks Color Fix products. I mean, obviously you have similar packaging and so forth. I have to say though, like, I really, really like this one. I don't know, I might like it better than the Danessa Myricks. So you can see you can shear it out. It is buildable, so you can keep building it up to the color here in the deeper swatch. I think this is a really beautiful lavender with hints of taupe. You can see there is a little bit of, you know, taupe in the base there. It's a really beautiful shade. You can put this on very easily with a brush or your fingers. You can see the demos here. And I think it goes on nicely. It lasts all day. It does not crease. It does not budge. There is, you know, it's not so, it doesn't dry so quickly that you have to like really speed through. You know, so I would say that there's a good balance in the drying time and the performance is great. So I'm really enjoying the Color Shot. It is definitely something I'd pick up more of. I think this shade in particular, Lavender Sky, is gorgeous. I think the formula is really nice as well. Now, just a few product details for this. This is going to have 10 milliliters of product. Again, it is made in Italy. And in this case, we have a 6-month shelf life, which is pretty standard for anything liquid or creamy that goes on the eyes. Again, it's a vegan formula, and we have 12 hours of lasting comfort and wear from here. So according to RABANNE, this is made to play soft and fresh texture with a light reflecting finish, weightless, stretchable, and buildable with a medium to high coverage, non-sticky or drying feeling, no crease, sweat, smudge, and party proof. And I would have to say I wore it outside on a very hot day, lots of humidity, and it really stayed put well. So I am impressed with the color shots. I think those are a really great product. So let's move on to the powder eyeshadows, because I'm sure this is what everybody really wants to see. So here's the packaging. We've got that chrome plastic. You can see up here, I'm not sure if it's focusing, but there we've got these 2 little holes on the side, and that's going to be true on the quads as well. You can actually string these on a chain, wear it as a necklace. That's the intent of those holes. So they sell duos, which are the mini palettes, and then they also sell quads. So they have a variety of different finishes. You can see we've got the RABANNE logo here. It does tell you your names on the back. And this is a push closure. So there's a mirror inside. There are no utensils, which personally I think is totally fine. This is the mini palette in Midnight Lights. So this first shade here, I mean, look at this blue. It's like a blue purple. It's really beautiful. These 2 shades here are both very creamy metallics. That being said, if you want this shade of blue on your lids, if you use a brush, it's gonna really sheer out. The silver goes on just fine with a brush, but the blue, you are gonna wanna use a foam tip applicator or a finger and really more pat that on. They are both a metallic or metal finish, but they do perform slightly differently, and we'll talk about that when we go through all of the swatches and demos. Now, the other palettes, I wanted to make sure that I picked up, you know, all of the different finishes. So I have 3 quads as well. This one here is called Unnatural World. These are called a handbag palette, the quads. So we have a sparkle finish here. And the sparkle finish is really more of a topper. You can see it's pretty sheer. If you use a brush to put this one on, it goes on a lot more sheer than that. And then we have kind of this soft, warm brown. You can see there's a touch of orange in here. This is going to be one of the mattes. We also have this next shade here is also a matte. You can see that's going to be warmer. There's a little bit more orange in there. And then this one here is the cream. This is called the Lilac Glaze. I have to say, this cream shadow, I don't typically love cream shadow, so I wasn't sure how this was going to go. It's really kind of cool. It feels more like paint that's drying. It's a little bit of a sticky, tacky texture when you touch it. It does kind of set into your skin, especially if you blend it out. And performance is actually pretty impressive on that. So, you know, it's not one of those cream shadows that like creases immediately and you're continually tapping out. So I was really impressed with that. We'll take a look at that in a minute. The next quad I have, and this is the one that's on my eyes today, this is Feel My Vibe. So we have this beautiful like peachy metallic shade here, and this is going to be one of the metallics. You can see that it definitely has a lot of shimmer. Next up, we have another sparkle shade, and this is in Stylish. This has a little bit more pigmentation than the sparkle shade in this one. So if you use a brush for this one, you are going to get more color, and you'll be able to see that in the demos, but it is going to still be a light shade. Then we have another metallic in this beautiful plum shade, and look how similar that is to Lavender Sky. We've got a little bit more red in here, but they do complement each other very well. And then we have a matte shade here, and again, we're looking at a warm brown with some orange in there. So that he doesn't really have any cool browns that I have in my palettes, at least. Then the last palette I picked up, this is called Paradise Lost Then Found. This is the green quad. It's beautiful. So this first shade here, this is a metal, but it's kind of between the metal and the sparkle finish in my opinion. And you can see it's like a gold, but there's a spring green reflex. So it looks gold in the pan, but you can see when the light hits it, you get that spring green. Really beautiful shade. I love this shade. And then we have a true spring green, again, metallic finish. It's just a really beautiful light green. This shade here, this is actually a dark green, and it's actually a pretty creamy matte. So this really nice texture on here, you can see it's a nice true forest green. And then we have another metal shade here. This is going to be more of a dusty, it's too blue to be a true moss, but it's kind of like a bluish mossy algae kind of shade. So I think it's a beautiful quad. Out of the 3 quads, I have to say I really like all of them. I like being able to play with the different finishes. Let's move on to the eye swatches and we'll talk about these. There are a few different quads and there are a bunch of duos in there. It doesn't look like any of the shades between the quads and the duos actually repeat. They look like they are all different shades, and there are different finishes. We've got the matte leather, the metal foil, the sparkling luster, and the glossy vinyl. So those are your different finishes, and different quads and duos will have different ones. So it's not like every quad has one of each, you know, so it will kind of depend on your color story as to which finishes are in there. And according to RABANNE, it says that RABANNE reinvents the powder experience with innovative finishes and sensory qualities. It provides full impact in one stroke with a buildable and second skin feeling. Fashion fabrics translate it into 4 highly pigmented eyeshadow textures. And again, that's the matte leather, metal foil, sparkling luster, and glossy vinyl. I have to say, I think these are actually a really nice product. The quads, we have a 2.6 grams of product in there. It has an 18-month shelf life. Again, it is made in Italy. The duos are 1.6 grams. And, you know, depending on the quad, your grams are going to change a little bit. So the Unnatural World is 2.3 versus Paradise Lost and Found is 2.6. It's all the same volume, all the same quantity of product, but different finishes are going to have slightly different weights. So that's not always the best way to go by it. Again, we do have 18-month shelf life. You can string these on a necklace or a chain if you choose. And, you know, let's talk a little bit about these finishes. Now, as we're looking at the sparkle finishes, those are pretty sheer, and you can see in the eye swatches that with some of these, you really need to use your finger to get any of these. These are essentially a topper shade, but they are, you know, they're going to give you a sheer colored base with a little bit of sparkle. They're not a super intense sparkle. I think they're actually a very soft, subtle sparkle. They are pretty, but they are going to be light. They are actually my least favorite of the 4 formulas because I love the shades they have in these sparkle finishes, but I feel like I want to see what's in the pan. It's definitely much more sheer than what you see in the pan. So the metal finish is probably my favorite, but this metal finish is kind of inconsistent depending on what the shade is. So as I talked about the duo during the arm swatches, you know, that blue purple shade is gorgeous. It looks beautiful piled on, but the application for that, you really have to use a finger, kind of pat that on, versus the silver. They're both the same finish. They're both metals, but the silver goes on a lot more easily. It's creamier, it's smooth. So the color and the pigments used in those colors really kind of alter how the best application method will be for each of those. That being said, I think it's gorgeous on the eyes. It's really beautiful finish. You have a metallic finish for sure. Some of them are going to look a little bit more metallic than others, such as that silver versus the blue. You know, and even if you're looking at the if you're looking at the if you're looking at the Feel My Vibe palette, that first shade, Chic, is a metal, but it has an intense sparkle. It doesn't really look metallic per se. It actually looks more like a sparkly shade. So, you know, the metal finish is not actually consistent. Some of them are going to be creamier, some are going to be drier, some of them are going to have more glitter than others. So I do feel like perhaps they should have different categories in there. Moving on to the mattes. The mattes overall, you know, the darker shades actually are very creamy matte. They're very easy to use. The lighter shades in these palettes are more of your traditional matte, easy to use. They blend out well. They're kind of your standard powder matte shade. So overall, I think they are a nice, solid product. No issues with any of those. The cream though, I think this vinyl glossy cream, it has a really cool texture. As I mentioned, it kind of has this tacky stickiness to it. It feels almost like a sticky paint that is drying. And, you know, like if you've just painted a wall and it's almost dry, but you touch it to see if it's done and it's not quite done. That's the texture of these. It's a little bit creamier than that, but I think it's really cool how it performs as well. And you can see in the demos, I think that these actually perform very well. This particular shade is a lighter shade, so you don't see a ton of color from it, but you could totally use this shade just on its own. You can pair it on top of powders. You can put powders on top of it, and it performs well. So overall, I would have to say it's actually a really successful formula. I really like it. It's kind of changed my mind about a lot of cream shadows. I love cream shadows in general, but a lot of them crease pretty quickly, especially if you're going for that glossy look. So typically glossy cream shadows are not my favorite because they crease almost instantly on my eyes. This one doesn't. And you still get that vinyl texture, that vinyl appearance to your lids. So I think it's really cool. It's definitely a product that could look great with a bright colored eyeliner and so forth as well. So I think it's really nice. Now, I also wanted to talk about the mascaras. So there are 3 different mascaras. I do wish that they had color coded the tubes, but they didn't. We have a primer, we have a deep black, and then we have this gold sparkle mascara. So the primer, let's start off with that. So this is the packaging for all of the mascaras. Your primer is a clear primer here. I'm just gonna go ahead and put it on here. It's kind of just like a standard, lash primer. I think it's not the best personally. Every time I use the primer, by the end of the day, I get a little flaking of the mascara, which I do not get when I don't use the primer. So this is the deep black, and you can see our deep black, we have more of an hourglass shape brush versus the straight brush that we had in the primer, and it's a true black. This is going to give you a little bit of lengthening and definition, but it's not a particularly volumizing mascara. Overall though, I like the mascara. I don't like it with the primer, but I like it on its own. And then the glitter mascara. So this is actually called the famous Top Coat Mascara in silver and gold. I really wanted to try this. I really wanted to love it. You can see when you swatch it, you get plenty of glitter. But let's look at these demos here, and you can see it on the lashes. Unfortunately, there's just not enough glitter. You don't really see that much of it. So you can see some like frosty tips. I feel like I can see it better on my lower lashes than on my upper lashes, but it's not fully coating no matter how many layers I put on, whether I put it on while it's still wet underneath or I let the layers dry and then add more. It doesn't seem to make any difference. I've tried using a brush versus the wand. That doesn't seem to make a difference. Actually, that's not as effective. It's better with the wand. But unfortunately, I just feel like it doesn't make enough of a difference to be worth purchasing. And then some of the glitter particles from here will fall throughout the day. So you can end up with like glitter under your eyes and so forth with this. So overall, I'd have to say that out of the mascaras, the black one is your best option. And it's a decent mascara, but it's nothing like spectacular in my opinion. So I think it's okay. But the primer I would pass on, and the glitter mascara, unfortunately, I would pass on as well. I do think, if you've got a special occasion or like New Year's or something, it might be something nice if you want a subtle touch, but don't expect tons and tons of glitter from that. So even when you shake it, it's not like the concentration is going to change dramatically. So it's just not the best. Just a few details on the primer and the mascaras. They have 8 milliliters of product. We have a 6-month shelf life on here. And these, again, are vegan formulas. And we range from 91 to 95% natural origin ingredients. And the glitter, it says it's supposed to be lasting comfort for up to 24 hours. The actual primer is supposed to, you know, work for up to 24 hours as well. The black mascara does not have any particular claims with it. So just something to note, if you want to use a primer on its own, you can get a little bit of lash darkening. But again, I think it's, you know, it's a little flaky. I don't like the way it dries. It's one of, like, if one of those brow gels, how they can sometimes flake. That's what this primer actually feels like to me. It feels very much so like a clear brow gel. The ones that kind of get a little frosty and flake off. So they're just not for me. So overall, those are my thoughts on the brand RABANNE. I have to say, overall, it is a nice start to the brand. I'm interested definitely in seeing more of these. I do think that the eyeshadows are really nice. They are not going to be like my favorite formula because unfortunately they do have some inconsistencies. So you never really know exactly, you know, whether you're getting a creamy metallic versus a drier metallic and so forth. So I do really like them. I haven't had issues with any of them, but I do like knowing exactly what the formula is going to be like when I go and purchase an unknown color story. So that's kind of a drawback for me. However, that being said, I do like them and I would purchase the eyeshadows, the color shots again. I'd purchase the lip products again. I would personally pass on the glitter shot, the foundation, and the mascaras. So overall, nice solid start. Definitely looking forward to seeing more from the brand. As for which eyeshadow palette I like the most, is probably this green, the Paradise Lost and Found, but I really like all of them. And one of the great things about these eyeshadow palettes, you've got some really deep pigmented colors. You can get deep looks, but the way that these textures work and the way that these colors are arranged in the color stories, you can also get very light, soft looks. And nothing has to be wow and in your face, but it can be if you want it to be. So there's a lot of flexibility with that. So I definitely think that those are a winner. And again, the color shot I think is fantastic. I really like it. To me, it seems like an improved upon version of the Danessa Myricks Color Fix. But we'll have to wait and see how it performs over time. You know, it's obviously a brand new product, so I'm 100% sure this is very fresh. So we'll have to see, you know, how quickly things dry out and so forth. But at this moment, it is performing so well. And yeah, those are basically my thoughts on these. And I hope this was helpful. So please let me know if you've tried anything from this brand, what your thoughts are. And I cannot wait to see more. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have a wonderful day.